and I can see my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight.
Like they say, oh, we're charging you like $4.60 for the commission fees, and then other than that, we paid for your training fee and photocopying fees. I'm charging you another 2,000 Hong Kong dollars. That's not allowed. It's illegal. Like the law says that any kind of payment will be included in the limit. So that's another thing that's part of the law, and if they don't follow, then you can report them to the EAA. Another thing that the COP says agencies cannot do, and it will be illegal for them to do, is if they if they tell employers how to deduct your salary. I think in some cases, especially Indonesian cases that I've worked on before, they might be, or even maybe for, I don't know, in case, for example, Marietta couldn't pay the 21,000 pesos to the agency, and then the agency tells the employer that they can deduct money from your salary for the payment. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you say, I don't have money to pay the 20,000 peso. So the agency instructs the employer to deduct maybe, I don't know, 5,000 peso from your salary every month so that you can pay it up, the 20,000, 21,000
It's
peso.
really happening.
Yeah, it's true.
This one is not allowed also, and both the employer and the agency could be violating the law. So this just keep in mind, first the employer cannot deduct your salary for payment of agency fees or payment of loans unless you wrote a letter saying that you agree to that, especially for like personal loans. But then for agency fees, like paying someone just like in the Philippines or a random financial institution in Hong Kong saying they are charging you agency fees, then that's not allowed. That's like unlawful deductions. And so the employer will be in trouble if you report them. And if the agency is involved in telling what the employer can do, or they asking the employer to deduct your salary, then that's also illegal. So that's also what the COP wrote in the document. So just here, like both the agency and the employer can be guilty, and they can be brought to court, and they can face the same penalty. Another thing is that if they deduct your salary, meaning you receive less money than the minimum wage. In a way, it could be a criminal offense under the immigration ordinance. Why is that so? Because like when you process your visa, your employment contract gets sent to the immigration department, right? And receiving in your contract. So that's like a statement or a promise that the agency and the employer makes to the immigration that they will follow this contract. And if they later don't follow the contract and they pay you less than what's written in that contract, It's actually them making false statement to the immigration department. So like employer and agency lying to the immigration department. And that's like a big problem. And that's how you can, that's like kind of a tool you can use to protect yourself and against them if they do this to you. So that's like one weapon you have in your pocket against abusive employers. And especially also when agencies instruct the employer to deduct your salary for payment of agency fees, then they are part of that, they're complicit in this. Another thing, if agency takes your passport or employment contract or any other kind of personal documents, then the COP says it could be a violation of the theft ordinance, like if you don't give them express consent, meaning you don't say it out or you write a letter saying, I agree to you taking my passport, then you might be able to report them to the police. Although this is only written on paper, I don't think the police would actually entertain this. So that's like a problem. Other things that might be new to you, I find quite interesting that it's actually in the COP. They have written out that employment agencies need to follow the privacy laws in Hong Kong. Of course, this is basic. In terms of enforcement, I've not seen any kind of law enforcement on that. But one thing to note is that they cannot publicly post your information unless they have your consent. So I think, I'm not sure how it works, but I've like passed by employment agency offices and I see that they put up like a paper with your photo and then some information. I've not read that in detail. So that's like kind of a public posting of your face, your name, and some other information. And I'm not sure if the agencies ever ask you for your agreement to this. No, right? Actually, they should. They should tell you that they are putting up your personal information in a public place, and they need to explain to you how they're going to use that, and you can say no to having some information there. Like, I don't know, have you ever seen that paper that they put up of you?
Yes.
Yes. And what's in there? Your name, your
Hindi pa puno.
Your age, your experience, something like that.
Your
How many
nationality.
kids you have, if you are married or single.
That's a lot of personal information.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think so the agency really asks us to post that.
Do you think that's necessary?
Yeah.
No.
Unless maybe if the employer will ask. Yeah.
But shouldn't it be like only when the employer asks and then you decide if you want to provide those information? But now it's just like all out there in front of the agency office. Okay. So actually under the privacy laws in Hong Kong, they shouldn't do this. Like at the very least, they should ask you if you agree to include those information in that piece of paper, and then for all the prospective employers to be able to see those information. So that's one thing. And then another law is called the Trade Description Ordinance that's also specified in this COP. This one is a little bit interesting because I think they are seeing the service given by employment agencies as a kind of trade, and so you can think of yourself as a customer also, and you think of it from the perspective of protecting yourself. How it works is that if they tell you, because when you try to get a new job, you also need to understand how the employer is like how big is the house, how many kids or elderly you will be taking care of. You have to take care of a cat or a dog, and then some other things for you to also decide if you want to work for certain employers, right? And then if the agency tells you one thing, like you are gonna work for a 3-person family, and then it turns out to be like a 10-person family, then you can argue that essentially that the agency is violating the trade description ordinance. That's what the COP says. You can just refer them back to the COP, because that's not what I said, it's what the government said themselves. So that's one thing, and then same for the immigration laws, just like what I said earlier about not paying you the minimum wage or not paying you the wage stated on your contract. In terms of job duties and where you work, it's also in your contract, right? It's in the schedule of accommodation. It says that you have to take care of a baby, and then there's a dog, and etc. If the reality is different from what's written in your contract, again, the employer and the agency could be lying to the immigration department. So that's like another thing that the COP says, like, that's in the law, it protects you. I think people are not using these laws enough. So if like bad things really happen, then maybe we can try to use this to protect ourselves before there are more protections. Like an easier way is to just make the COP a law. But while it is not, we can only rely on these, and these are things that we can use at this point. And then there are other standards that are written in the COP, but highlighted in red here. Those are just standards that the Labor Department expects the agencies to follow. But if they don't follow, there will be no legal consequence. Like they don't get sent to court or they don't get fined. But there might still be consequence in terms of whether they have the license renewed.